Have you ever wondered where you actually stand as an artist compared to everyone else? In this video, I'm going to show you the 6 levels of art mastery so you can figure out where you land. And I will also give you some advices on exactly how to get to the next stage. But first, a quick disclaimer. These levels are just my own creation. It's not an official standard that every artist follows, and others might have different ideas of what each level means. Another thing is that art isn't like a video game. You don't get a level of notification the moment you improve. These stages are pretty blurry, so you might never be 100% sure which level you are in, and that's completely okay. So let's start with level 1, the beginner. This is the level 0 of art. This is the level where your enthusiasm far outweighs your skills. You struggle with drawing the most basic stuff. You cannot draw a proper line. You struggle with drawing circles and squares, and you definitely don't know how to draw a box in 3D. At this stage, you rely heavily on copying from photos and other artists' work, line for line. Now, just because you are bad at drawing does not mean you are a beginner. To be a beginner at anything, you must have to have a goal to improve further. Trying a skill for a few days and then never picking it up again means you have no interest in that skill. If you are someone like that, you do not deserve to be categorized, so learn to stick to it. If you have decided to pursue art and are at the beginner stage, welcome. I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of fun. Now, the only thing you need to do at this stage is draw. Draw as much as you can. Do not worry about anything else. Your goal is to familiarize yourself with the process of drawing, get more confident with your lines, and just try to enjoy the process of creating art. A common mistake a lot of beginners make at this stage is worrying too much about their art style. And trust me, at this stage, you should not be even thinking about art styles. It comes way later. Now, when it comes to dividing your time between drawing what you want and studying art, I would suggest that you give like 10 to 20% of your drawing time to just studying. With studying, I mean drawing circles, squares, practicing lines, and drawing boxes. Just keep doing it for at least a year, and you will be promoted to the next level, which I call the beginner advanced. This is the stage where you have put in the work. You have been drawing for at least a year now, your circles and squares actually look decent, you can draw a box in 3D, and your line work has started to look much more confident. But even though you have become more knowledgeable, you have probably started losing a little bit of confidence. It's something that we all go through. In the beginner stage, you might have set these big goals thinking you would learn certain things in certain amount of time, but now you are realizing how deep the rabbit hole goes. You are starting to see exactly how much there is to learn, and it can feel a little overwhelming. This is also the stage where you start looking at professional artists and comparing work to theirs. This usually leads to two outcomes. Either you feel discouraged because you think you will never be that good, or you get motivated to work even harder to close that gap. How long you stay in this stage depends entirely on how much you study. This is the level where you really need to start exploring the fundamentals of art, things like shape, forms, and perspective. At this stage, I suggest you spend about 30% of your time specifically studying these fundamentals. I say 30% because you are still in what I call the volatile stage. If you spend 100% of your time on boring drills, you might burn out and give up. Your main goal is still to have fun and keep that passion alive. If you stick with it, study those fundamentals, and keep pushing through, you will be ready to move on to the next stage, the intermediate. This is the level you reach after roughly 3 to 4 years of practicing art daily. If you have made it to this level, congrats! You are finally a good artist now. You have started to regain that lost confidence. Your understanding of art fundamentals is now good enough to allow you to experiment with your art. And finally, you can start exploring your art style. And now you also feel confident enough to share your art online. But this is also the level that will decide your fate as an artist. This is the stage where a lot of artists plateau. You might feel like your art has stopped improving. Your art is good, but it's nowhere where you want it to be, and you have no idea how to move forward. And it's completely normal if you feel that way. This whole stage is about discovering yourself as an artist. You need to find your likes and dislikes so you can develop your personal artistic process. And the most important thing you can do for that is to study as a professional artist. The more you study, the better. You are basically trying to find your comfort zone. And to do that, you need to step out of your comfort zone. And after a few years, you will move on to the next stage, which I call the intermediate advanced. This is the stage where you can start calling yourself a professional. Skill is not an issue for you anymore. Art fundamentals are good, and you are pretty confident in your skills to consistently make good art. Your art style has also become more consistent, and people are able to recognize your art on social media. which means you have established yourself in online spaces as a pro artist. You are consistently gaining likes and followers. People want to commission you, collaborate with you, and learn from you. You are good enough to be hired as a junior artist in a professional studio, and you are ready to make a living as a full-time artist. Now, a mistake that a lot of artists might make is just becoming too confident and too comfortable. They completely stop studying fundamentals because they believe they have already mastered them, which can halt their progress. Some might also be too scared to try anything new. They have found that comfort zone that works for them and are scared that if they try something new, they might end up losing their audience. But not changing at all can also make you lose your audience because people might find your art too repetitive and boring. So don't be scared to try new things, and most importantly, keep studying your fundamentals. And if you consistently draw and study every day, you will reach the next level, the advanced artist. You worked hard, you stuck to creating art, and never lost your passion, and it has now paid off. You have now reached the top. You are no longer a junior artist. You are likely a senior artist, an art director, or a very successful freelance artist. And if you're working independently, you must have tons of followers. Now, you don't just make good art, you make art that can move people. You have already mastered the fundamentals, so studying is now optional for you. Now, I don't have much idea of what kind of problems the artists at this level might have to go through. I still have a long way to get there, but from what I have seen, this stage of art might be the most boring because learning is very slow. Years go by and you don't really see much of an improvement in your art. And this is also the stage where burnouts are most frequent. But who cares? You're successful. Now there is a level even above this, the level of the gods. Artists at this level are called the masters. The only difference between an advanced artist and a master is experience. They have been drawing for many years now. If you are a master, you are probably old. Skills or fundamentals are not something that you even think about. Drawing has now become a second nature for you. It's like breathing. You don't try to draw a masterpiece, you just create, and because of those years of experience, a masterpiece is what comes out. Masters are the ones who influence the world. They aren't just following trends, they are the trends. They have reached a point where they can break every rule of art and still make it look perfect. But even a master is still learning. Learning is one thing that should never stop. There is never enough to learn. So that is the map, from drawing circles to reaching the level of gods. Just remember, these levels aren't a race. Whether it takes you 1 year or 10 years to level up, the only thing that matters is that you keep that passion for creating alive. Every master you admire today was once a beginner who simply refused to quit. And that's it. See you in the next video.